Alright, it's September 3rd, 2021. I'm trying to think, like, the best way to explain this. From, like, delta and sigma to alpha, gamma. Alright, so now, if you think of what I call your body machina, right? Your humanoid, your thing you move around in that your parents supposedly gave you. Just stick to simple at the moment. Because I'm not supposed to make myself more like you, ever, in actuality, but at this point I'm so stuck. I'm just trying to explain to you what I got going on, to help you move in whatever emotion you need. Alright, so now my humanoid, with a proboscis, a protruding nose, two eye sockets as cameras, one mouth for speaking, my instructions to rescue team, the helpful sort, the respectful helpful sort, and then my two audio canals for balance, but also to pick up vibrations on special machine. Alright, now, I do want to make a mention. It's September 3rd, 2021. I saw, it's former President Bill Clinton. That's the way the Americans use their English, to pay respects to a former president. I know it's different at former Navy SEAL. We're a totally different animal. So, former President Bill Clinton wrote a book, I guess it would be like their white old guy version of Beat and Feet, Beatfeat, with James Patterson. I saw them on some morning talk show. They wrote a book. I know it had to do with something going on at Prometheus, called The President's Daughter. I guess they didn't want to go with the Russian dad's daughter. Would have been like wait a minute. Right. I know that originally someone wrote The General's Daughter a while ago. I started to read it, and then I got lost in context, and I put the book down, and whatever. But that was not a bash against the writer. It was just, it's hard to use your mind around here based on the radiological level that they have me imprisoned in. This is my sheetrock prison in Prism. Alright, anyway, alright, so now when the stuff here on Earth breaks so much because the system's kind of collapsing in on itself, in my life term here, I'm on what's called an ROR. But it's wrong. I'm not supposed to be ROR'd. And I don't know what the military thinks that is anymore, because the criminals are supposed to be ROR'd in sheetrock prisons. I'm supposed to be in respectful, knows what to call everybody. But for some reason I got saddled here. At first they said it was protectful place, but then that turned out to be a flat-out lie. It was where they put me in a sheetrock prison with a tillis that looks like a box with 8-foot ceilings every day, but without jail bars. And then they started swarming inside the machine, and they started eating through what I call it. I mean, it looks like they're chomping, for lack of a better word. If it was like a computer simulation with like little human faces, like little gingerbread men, like trying to eat around a picture frame and get into, that's what the human virus looked like. Alright, so now, if you think of outside, like sigma and delta in alpha gamma, of course, they don't, explaining everything that's not us. in Navy sealed envelopes. So outside of whatever you wake up to every day, because nobody wants to disrespect any of you, but outside of that, when you look through the television set at all the good hive workers that are following somebody's instruction, and they're all such great children of the world. They're such great worker bees. Right, yeah, I'll live in that 700 Club version for a moment. They are the field of study. Something's always going on in big schematics. It's virus. They're a field of study. Currently, in Prometheus territory, we noticed that the virus, meaning the Rus Ajas area of gardening, where I can see multiple things in different ways that humans can't, there was an up ahead that some sections were being attacked by a brown gingerbread looking humanoid, like human figure, and trying to break into certain sealed silver sections of theater equipment. And then once, at some point, it actually did break the seal, and then they got in. We already reported who was involved, what led up to it, when it would happen, but yet it already happened. And it's getting worse. Now, when I'm in alien form, which gets a little crazy, but let's go to movie theater for a minute. When I'm not humanoid looking and by myself in a sheetrock prison, trying to explain to you what I need at ROE, being the rules of engagement, I have less features that look human. It's just almost like just one skin, but I don't need all of this fancy equipment. Like, I don't need smelling olfactory, I don't need tasting olfactory, I don't need visionary cortex movie recording, I don't need audio recording. It records in a different way. I'm the short one. And then there's, I call them the bubble feature, like the bubble pair, because he looks like a large, here, this is what it looks like. It looks like a taller and a smaller bubble. And when we're together, I literally walk, and I call it melting into him. I just walk into his bubble feature, being, it looks silhouette human, like that structure, like you have spindles to move prosthetically, and you are a conscious something. You're also a communicative something. But I just melt and meld, M-E-L-D, because there's no heat factor necessarily, into him, or, well, what I call him, because when we come to humanoid, we do get a nose and some eyes and some features that look like you all to communicate. And there's a version of a him, and he's taller, to my shorter. But when we're in machine level fixing stuff, and I don't have such whatever, there's just a symmetrical chemistry that just melds in. And so it almost looks like what I would assume like this, because, and then all of a sudden it's an interconnected communication method. You become one unit and you move a lot more swiftly, and you become a melded consciousness between the two of you. You are a super processor, and then I leave his entity or his sack, or, like, lack of a better word, his feature, and I go out and become a second set of hands in order to have an interdimensional recording between two biomatrices for heat, for thermal, for photon, for a lot of different pressure systems, and so on and so forth when we're doing forensics work. But it becomes a melded unit, and only one at certain points, and then when he says so, I leave his unit. It's almost like a telekinesis in a mitosis or a meiosis, but not at small cellular under a biological microscope. It's at humanoid level. I'm 5'6". I'm called a Soviet. He's my Nazi. He's where I meld into him, and the vortex all of a sudden becomes sealed. And then there's no sound or audio communication at a level that audio decibels into a human known sound system that I'm aware of. It's quiet communication between he and I. But that's at Prometheus level. We only created Prometheus because it had to become pro the two of us once there was a separation and two Leos were created. I mean, we didn't create this on our own. This is generational. Like, I didn't want to become this ever. But here it was radio waves were interfered. This is the male portion. And then this is the female portion, which is the Leo. Then she sectioned herself with another Aquarius, which was written in prehistoric timing at millennial. We'll go millennial Falcon to Century Eagle to whatever we're working at, Raven and Crow at the moment. And then I have 2 extra Leos with a body armor piece being Linda. And that's the foxhole I fell out of. That's the way I explain it. I don't know how else to make it human but not human. So let me think about this. So that's how the tear in time and space happened. And I'm in an ROR. I don't know legality-wise what that means at somebody's special area. I'm thinking that they let the criminal network, like, beef up some kind of law case or case studies to the wrong people, and they made a case against me, which means holding me here, sectioned off, and punishing me while they go about and build some grander schematic and find their way into more silver screen sealed off areas, because that's what it kind of feels like at the moment. I'm not saying that all are involved, but there is a great portion of them that are, and then they play off of one another with, oh, well, I was just following so-and-so's directions. I'm not buying it anymore. I shouldn't be ROR'd because the criminals should have been cast out into ROR sheetrock prisons. That's what it was set up for originally. So this way we could keep the Prometheus sealed, and we could work on making sure that if Prometheus is the main unit, it doesn't collapse in on itself with a negative compression system. Currently, I'm having electrolyzed problems between my breathing, between my timing of my muscles, and I'm holding on to lots of what's called adipose tissue, ADIPOSE, which is prose, PROSE, which is like a fancy canon or sonnet. I don't know how many of you are involved with like the translation of like Monet and Beethoven into the actual reality. I mean, I know that the chaos in the telenovela makes a beautiful orchestra piece, and I know that there's some level of mathematics and musicians that are so grateful for being able to play such great pieces. But those pieces were created as parts of the machine were chaotically being split apart, because when we're not in humanoid trying to explain to you what we need in order to, and what's pinning us wrong in the system, we're vibrational. And so the song and sonnet without, and canon without word, but just by instrument alone on set rhythmic, is how we prefer music. This having to communicate with humans via words and having to decipher, while puzzles are a fun part in small quantity. I was already Prometheus at Rubicon level, and Rubicon birthed a lexicon in order to recalibrate the main machine to make sure that it didn't collapse in on one another. But there are so many pieces that are moving and transferring and now are hard to quantify by machine like even the machines are coming up with blanks. And I even overheard in last session when we did a pause on Earth, they were trying to go into sports book and draft book of whatever they had already created dangerously at roast beef, and a second version of a cloned game of football, but with a roast beef football as compared to, because they're trying to come up with quantifiable systems of data in order to plague the machine to get more viral code by keeping me in an ROR position and lying to the authority, which they know. And the more viral code that they come up with in fields of study, the longer time dilates, but it also collapses the inside of the machine. So now I don't know how to fix this from my single cell organism. I belong to something taller than myself and that has male humanoid features. I know that this adipose outfitter is damaged. I'm in a poisoned unit. I have humans purposely keeping me at an ROR stance, feeding and injecting poisons into my day-to-day life via coffee, via McDonald's fried whatever, and writing the science so that this way the viral code sticks in specific areas, and then they have bioengineered scientists that chase that viral adipose aggressive whatever that they've already affixed to my biologic to turn off the integral science that electrolytes it. So this way I have free movement. I'm losing free movement within the main system because of some really disgusting things that have happened throughout my life. I have been nothing but abused by people. I want to get over it. I'm not a drama queen. I'm not telenovela. I really couldn't give a fucking shit. I don't like drama. What I like is losing this ugly and walking in and melting into something that I'm a part of, and only leaving the safety of him when he needs a second set of hands. That's the only time I need to leave. But it's right next to him in order to assist him with having a second set of hands. So like I don't really get humans because I don't hear humans talking this way, and I really don't care to engage in conversation with humans. I mean, they've contributed nothing to my entire existence. So now I need to figure out how to get back to where I meld in at Prometheus level. And the word Prometheus didn't happen until we got to double Leo by myself. So that's now not anthropomorphic, that's homogeneous, and it's androgynous. You're able to self-replicate without involvement of electric spark of the current, because the imagery came from astrological cosmic nursery elsewhere. It was already designed before I got there. But again, that's part of the sequencing of time and space, which is a whole nother section, because there was at one of the meeting areas that they were trying to shut down, somebody had cloned a section of my day-to-day, and they were letting it run on 2 different time zones, which is a problem. But again, I don't really see why I should be an ROR. I thought that the people who were enhancing these disgusting, dangerous, new art, like they call them artifacts. I mean, it's not a benefactor. You didn't help me in any way. You didn't help humanity. You just caused more problems at a really dangerous, quiet level. And then the law got involved. And then they just sat there and fought back and forth because, like, they're, like, super geeky guys. And then everybody gets quiet as to who was involved. Great. That didn't fucking help either. I can be quiet all day long as I got what I'm supposed to be with, and then we could just fix it from there. But instead you got me ROR'd in a sheetrock prison that I don't deserve, and I don't know how to get out. Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361, star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It is September 3rd, 2021. Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, and right now I'm in a spiral fracture of time and space at a really dangerous galactic level, at galaxy level, because the main nuclear reactor is off, and the outside shell that keeps it safe is starting to collapse in on itself, while at other section and area, I've got gingerbread swarming and munching on Tillis like it's some buffet. I'm hoping that that was shut down, but I have no way of checking it. I have no access to anything other than civilian grade walking with an umbrella day to day and recording myself. That's it. That's how disgusting this is.